Shabbat and how important it is for us to assemble on the Shabbat. And again, people take this thing lightly, very, very lightly, as if you can get the word from at home. Let's first get Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. No, this not the lesson. This is just by request from somebody who's watching.
You still want?
Oh, y'all sit down for me. I'm sorry. I'll get up there. My bad. I'm sorry. I got y'all.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart.
I will give you pastors according to what?
Mine heart.
According to my heart. That will do what?
Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass when you be multiplied and increased in the land. And in those days, saith Yahuwah, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall they be done anymore.
So we got to look at things. He says, I will give you a pastor according to my heart. Now, is everybody a pastor according to the heart of the Most High?
Not at all.
Absolutely not. When we looked at this thing earlier, and we look at a pastor is over the flock of the sheep, right? Hamashiach was a what? A pastor over the flock of the sheep, right? And when we look at the office of a pastor or a bishop or a deacon, you have to be blameless. You have to be perfect, as Hamashiach was. And you also got to preach Hamashiach, right? So any type of congregation that you have to first make sure these people that are preaching are a pastor according to the Most High's heart, right? Let's go back to the law real quick. Let's get Exodus chapter 20. See, a lot of people get it misconstrued, thinking that, oh, well, if I got my Bible in my hand, I can teach myself. That's absolutely wrong, because you can't. The word is going to come to you by who he gave the word to. We got to think. Moses and the Levites, the priests, they had the word, correct? Right? So when the people needed the word, it wasn't no Ustream, wasn't no YouTube back then. What they have to do? They had to go to them, because they had to assemble in order to get the word. Name me a Shabbat or an assembly where Shabbat was had, where Hamashiach missed it. Even if he wasn't preaching there. He did. He found himself in the synagogue every time. Same thing with the apostles. We got to understand this thing. This ain't nothing for you to play with. He gave us laws. He commanded us, hey, you need to come together. So if you stay at home, you at what? You in violations. Let's get Exodus 20 and 8.
Exodus chapter 20 and 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it Kodesh.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it Kodesh. Go ahead. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it Kodesh. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But in the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah, right? So we know that the 7th day is the Shabbat, right? We know how important it is because we see in Genesis, we just visited Genesis chapter 1. We know that this was the first holy day given, right? Let's get Hebrews chapter 4. This ain't nothing to play with, y'all. Hebrews chapter 4. And we can start at verse 1. Who was the rest of the Most High? Who was the rest? Hamashiach is the rest. Remember, in John 1, it told you that he did the work. Right? Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 4 and 1. Let us therefore fear.
Let us therefore what?
Fear.
Let us what?
Fear.
Let us fear. Read.
Least a promise being left us of entering into his rest.
So when we come together and commune on the Shabbat, we are entering into his rest. Into a set apart assembly that the Most High ordained. Right? Go ahead.
And any of you should seem to come short of it.
Don't come short of it. Read.
For unto us was the good news preached.
Unto us was the good news preached.
As well as unto them.
As well as unto them. Read.
But the word preached did not profit them.
It don't profit certain people because, like Mashiach said, my word just ain't in you. In John 8, he said, if you, matter of fact, let's get there real quick. Hold what you got out. Get John chapter 8. Pick it up at verse. Pick it up at verse. Pick it up at verse 37. Because the Pharisees and scribes said, "Hey, we are the children of Abraham. We all know that we the children of Abraham, right? Correct? We came from that lineage, right? We know that the Sabbath was given in Genesis chapter 1, right? Which means Abraham had to keep the Sabbath as well, right? Okay, let's go.
John 8 and 37. I know that you are Abraham's seed.
I know that you are Abraham's seed, but what?
But ye seek to kill me.
They killed him, right? And the scripture says in Hebrews chapter 6, if you ain't keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, then you got a hand in his blood. So you seeking to kill him as well. If the scriptures say that you're supposed to assemble on the Shabbat, you have to do what the scriptures say. We ain't talking about just at home. Because if everybody got a family, everybody could assemble at home. But he said go to where the word at. Right? Read.
I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word have no place in you.
Because my what?
My word have no place in you.
My word have no place in you. Read verse 39.
Verse 39. They answered and said unto him, Abram is our father. Yahushua said unto them,
what he say?
If ye were Abraham's children, ye would do the works of Abraham.
If you was Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. Surely you would. He kept the Shabbat, right? Which means we supposed to. Let's go back to Hebrews 4. Pick it up at verse 4.
Hebrews 4 and 4. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise.
So he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, read.
And the Most High did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest.
Seeing what?
Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein.
It remains, some must enter into that rest. Read.
And they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief.
Because of what?
Because of unbelief.
You just don't believe this book if you staying at home. Because that ain't what the book say. You just don't believe. If the Most High set up a congregation in your area and you able to be there, you need to go. Because that's where the word is. If you don't have a preacher feeding you the knowledge of the Most High, you don't have the Most High. Because the word ain't coming to just you. The word is coming to who he ordained to give it to. Ain't that right? Let's get Leviticus chapter 23. Read verse 1.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses.
And who spake to him?
Yahuwah spake unto Moses.
This ain't Moses telling you this of himself. This is a word given by the Most High. Read.
Saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yahuwah.
Concerning the what?
The feast of Yahuwah.
Concerning the feast of Yahuwah. When you had the feast, you had to assemble. Correct? We all get that? Okay. Go ahead.
Which ye shall proclaim to be Kodesh.
What you shall proclaim to be what?
Kodesh convocations.
Convocation. Go ahead.
Even these are my Shabbats.
Even these are my what? These are my feasts. Let me ask y'all a question. If we got Passover, are you going to miss Passover for anything in the world? The Day of Atonement. Pentecost. You ain't missing none of that. You ain't missing none of that. So why is it that the first one that he named, the Shabbat, we feel like we can stay at home on? This was the first out of all the convocations. Read verse 3.
Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of rest.
Is the Shabbat of what?
Of rest.
Uh-huh.
A Kodesh convocation.
A Kodesh what?
Convocation.
What is a convocation? That's a gathering. It's a set apart gathering. You don't gather with the people in your house because they stay in your house. Read.
Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Shabbat of Yahuwah in all your dwellings.
So, like my aunt Dwayne always say, it's a pastor of the Most High in every city. Every single city is a pastor of the Most High according to his heart. You got a lot of false ones out here, but according to these scriptures, it's one in every city. It's one everywhere. He ain't gonna leave you without the word. Right? So he told you that this was a Kodesh convocation. Let's get Hebrews 10 and we're gonna end it off on this. Dealing with the Shabbat. Hebrews chapter 10, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 22.
Hebrews 10 and 22. Let us draw near with the true heart.
Matter of fact, start at verse 21.
Verse 21. And having a high priest over the house of the Most High.
Having a high priest over the house of Yah. Who is that high priest? The Mashiach, right? He's the priest in the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 1, right? All the way down. Read.
Let us draw near with the true heart.
Let us draw near with a what?
With a true heart.
With a true heart. Read.
In full assurance of faith.
In full assurance of our faith. Go ahead.
Having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience.
Having your heart sprinkled from an evil conscience. Your flesh that tell you, oh man, you know, we supposed to rest on this day. We can just rest. I can get me some sleep. That ain't what he told you. In Leviticus 23, he said it's supposed to be a Kodesh convocation. He ain't tell you to go to sleep. You can sleep at night. Read.
And our bodies washed with pure water.
Washed with pure water. Read.
Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering.
When he said your body's washed with pure water, didn't he say, if you believe on him as the scripture said, your belly shall flow with rivers of living water? So that means you're going to have the spirit. Right? Read.
For he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works.
That's what we're here for. We provoking unto love and good works. But love is to do what? What's the love? Well, how do you love Hamashiach? Keep his commandments, right? And we supposed to provoke that unto each other. Hey, man, I ain't seen you in a while. You need to come to Shabbat class.
Don't call me. Don't worry about me, man.
Hey, you need to come. I love you. That's the only reason I'm telling you this.
I can stay at home if I want to, but I can congregate with my own family.
Let's read. Let's see. Read.
Not forsaking the assembling.
Not doing what?
Forsaking the assembling of ourselves together.
Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. Didn't he say that it's supposed to be a Kodesh convocation? A Kodesh gathering? If you're not coming just because you don't want to come, you're forsaking the assembly. You ought to go to hell. You're supposed to, because you ain't doing what the Most High said. Read.
As the manner of some is.
As the manner of what?
Of some is.
Drop down to verse 26.
Verse 26. For if we sin willfully.
Why do he say if you sin willfully right after he talked about forsaking the assembly? Because it's a sin. No matter how you slice it. Paul got this from somewhere. He's speaking out his mouth. I mean out his neck.
But I don't like co-op though.
Hey, straight up and down. The scriptures tell you what the scriptures tell you. Read that again now.
For if we sin willfully.
Well, if you sin willfully, you staying at home, you sinning. I don't care who you don't like. This man is a pastor according to the Most High's own heart, who feeds you with wisdom and understanding. So you need to be here. For if we sin willfully, what's going to happen?
For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth.
After we received the what?
The knowledge of the truth.
What's knowledge according to the scriptures? The fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge. So he says the fear of the truth, the knowledge of the truth. Who is the truth? So once you fear Hamashiach, how you going to say I ain't coming? Let's read.
For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
Ain't no more sacrifice. That blood on your hands now. Ain't no more sacrifice for what you done. Get Hebrews 6 and 4. We ended off that. I'm sorry. We're going to end it off that. Because he said ain't no more sacrifice for sins, right? And we know that Hamashiach was hung up there to pay for the sins of the children of Israel, right? Okay. Hebrews 6 and 4.
Hebrews 6 and 4. For it is impossible.
It's possible.
Impossible.
I can do it sometimes.
For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gifts.
The Ruach is the heavenly gift. For you to have tasted the Ruach, to believe on Hamashiach, because again, some just don't believe. If you tasted this Ruach and read.
And the heavenly gift, and were made partakers of the Ruach HaKodesh, and have tasted the good word.
Tasted the what?
The good word of Yahuwah.
How you get the good word? By a pastor that's there from the Most High's own heart. Read.
And the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away.
If they shall do what?
Fall away.
If you gonna fall away after you don't receive all of this, read.
To renew them again unto repentance.
It's impossible to renew you again to repentance. Read on.
Seeing they crucify to themselves.
Seeing they do what?
Crucify to themselves.
Seeing they crucify to themselves.
The Son of the Most High afresh.
Seeing they crucify him fresh. He died over 2,000 years ago. You gonna keep on sticking that spirit inside? If you got a hand in his blood, you deserve death. And he coming and he's going to require it of you. So point blank period, you need to assemble on the Shabbat. Point blank period, if you don't come, it's a sin unto death. So keep it up if you want to, and you are going to go to hell. Yah has approved of this message.
Okay. So we're going to get into this lesson. This is, if you would give it a title, Prophet Like Unto Moses. We're going to pick up where we normally pick up at. Get on Hosea chapter 12 and 10. A prophet like unto Moses.
Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets.
Did what?
I have also spoken by the prophets.
So he said he's spoken by the prophets. Read.
And I have multiplied visions.
He did what?
I have multiplied visions.
He multiplied visions. Visions is something that you're supposed to be able to see. Read.
And use similitudes.
And use what?
And use similitudes.
And use similitudes. Anybody, what's a similitude?
Something
Will be that.
similar.
Something similar.
I mean, similar to. I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
Right. Go ahead.
And use similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
So he spoke by Moses and the prophets things that were similar to paint a picture for you, to look at this thing and say, oh, I see what this is talking about. This is pointing to something. All right, let's get John 5 and 39.
The book of John, chapter 5 and verse 39. Search the scriptures.
Where are the scriptures found at?
The so-called Old Testament, all the way through John.
Exactly. Read that from the top again.
Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life.
Eternal life, read.
And they are they which testify of me.
So again, these scriptures in the Old Testament, they were spoken in similitude, and they are testifying of the Messiah. All right? Let's get Psalms 119 and 104. Because the only way you're going to be able to really understand this book is to do exactly like it said. Here a little, there a little, precept upon precept. That's the only way you're going to really get understanding of the book. Read.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 104. Through your precepts.
Through what?
Through your precepts.
I can just read the whole thing and I get it.
Through your precepts, I get understanding.
Through the precepts, you get understanding. And this is the reason why you're bouncing from here to there to here to there. This is why this is done. All right? Let's pick it up in Exodus chapter 1. Remember, a prophet like unto Moses. Matter of fact, pick it up. Let's Deuteronomy 18. You go there first. Verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 15. Yahuwah, your power, will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me.
So this is Moses speaking right here. Read that again.
For Yahuwah will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me.
Like unto me. So Moses is giving you a clue. He's saying that this prophet is going to be like me. Read.
And unto him you shall listen.
And unto him you shall listen. Now, it's a whole bunch of people that say that this is Joshua. A whole bunch of people that don't believe in the Messiah, they say that this is Joshua that he's talking about. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Last chapter of Deuteronomy. And this is why the Most High say stuff to confound people, because they try every way that they can not to believe in this prophet that was going to be sent. Let's get Deuteronomy 34, and we're going to pick it up at verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 34 and verse 9. And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom.
Go ahead.
For Moses had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Israel listened to him and did as Yahuwah commanded Moses.
Go ahead.
And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses.
Wait a minute. So it told us over there that the prophet was going to be like Moses. Right here, it clearly states Joshua is right there when this is being read or written. Read.
And there arose not a prophet in Israel like unto Moses, whom Yahuwah knew face to face.
So again, that right here rules Joshua out the equation. So the next time you ever hear somebody tell you that the prophet is talking about Joshua, you take them right here, they're going to be confounded. They're going to look stupid. Let's get Exodus 1. A lot of people don't know this book for real. Pick it up at verse 13.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
To do what?
To serve with rigor.
Kind of like our people right now. Especially a couple hundred years back. Go. Read.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
With what?
With hard bondage.
With hard slavery. Read.
In mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives of the name of the one which was Shiphrah, and the name of the other which was Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him.
So this Pharaoh just gave them a direct order, right? If the Hebrew women, if they have a son, kill him. Direct order, right? Read.
But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
Read on.
But the midwives feared Yah.
They did what?
They feared Yah.
The midwives feared Yah. Where did this take us to in the New Testament? That too. But this part right here is specific. It says, but the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. All of them is right answers. But let's get Acts 5:29.
The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 5, and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey Yah rather than men.
Same thing. Direct order. They told them, don't preach in his name. And they was defiant. The midwives did what? Same thing. They feared the Most High and did what he said do as opposed to them. All right, let's go back to Exodus.
Exodus chapter 1.
Matter of fact, we're going to Exodus 2, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. Because we all know that Herod tried to kill Hamashiach just like Pharaoh tried to kill Moses. Them is easy right there. The surface one. Exodus 2 and 11.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown.
When he was what?
When Moses was grown.
Read.
That he went out unto his brethren.
He did what?
He went out unto his brethren.
He went out unto his brothers. Read.
And looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian. And he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren.
All right, stop right there. So we know that Moses grew up in a lap of luxury, right? He had everything. And he did what? He left it, right? How does this pertain to a Mashiach? Or the similitude with a Mashiach? Through the precepts we get understanding. Anybody? Let's get Hebrews 11. Yeah, we coming back. We gonna be back and forth with Exodus all day. So keep your little marker there. Hebrews 11. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 24. Go ahead.
The book of the Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 24.
Matter of fact, pick it up at 23.
Verse 23. By faith, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
They were what?
They were not afraid of the king's commandment.
Same thing. Just action on 5:29 again. Read.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
So by faith, Moses refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Read.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction.
To do what?
choosing rather to suffer affliction.
So it says, choosing rather to suffer afflictions, read,
with the people of Yah, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
So right here, again, how would this pertain to the Messiah right here? Let's get John. Yeah, that's a good answer. Let's get John 17. Through thy precepts, we get understanding. John 17, pick it up at verse 1.
Yehukanan, chapter 17 and verse 1. These words spake Yeshua and lift up his eyes to Shammai and said, Father, the hour is come. Esteem or glorify your Son, that your Son may also, your Son also may glorify you.
Jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. I have glorified you on the earth. I have finished the work which you gave me to do. And now, O Father, glorify you me with your own self, with the glory which I had with you before the world was.
So Hamashiach had great glory in the beginning, before he ever came down here. He was in his Father's house. He left it and came down here to do what? To suffer great afflictions with his people. Yeah, exactly. With his people. All right. Let's get on Psalms 50. Psalms 50 and verse 5.
Psalms chapter 50 and verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Go ahead.
And the Shammai shall declare his righteousness, for Yah is judge himself.
Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. Offer unto Yah thanksgiving.
Offer unto who?
Offer unto Yah thanksgiving.
To the Most High thanksgiving. Read.
And pay your vows unto the Most High.
Read.
And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me.
This is a Mashiach speaking again right here. It says, offer unto the Most High thanksgiving, pay thy vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Let's get Isaiah 53. Pick it up at verse 4.
Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 4.
So remember, Moses came down. He left Pharaoh's house. Rather than living a life of luxury, he came down and was afflicted with his brothers. Read.
Surely he hath bore our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Yah, and afflicted.
So he left his house with his father and came down here for this. Read.
But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him.
Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. He was oppressed and he was afflicted.
Same exact thing with Moses. Moses left the Pharaoh's house to be afflicted with his people. He did the same thing. He left his father's house, came down to be afflicted with us. Read.
Yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter.
Did what?
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before the shearer is dumb.
Read that again.
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb.
So Moses willingly came down and did this, right? Let's see if the Messiah did. Let's get Leviticus 19 and 5. So Moses wasn't forced to do it. He chose to do it.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 5. And if you offer a sacrifice of peace, offering unto Yahuwah, you shall offer it at your own will.
At what?
At your own will.
So he willingly left the father's house, came down here, was sacrificed, treated like a dog. Willfully, the Most High didn't make him do it. Just like he didn't make Moses leave. Moses could have lived in there in luxury the rest of his life, but he chose to leave. All right, let's go back. Let's get Hebrews 11. Let's go back to Hebrews 11. Pick it up at verse 26 again.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 26. Okay, 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yah than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward.
So Moses was rich there, right? And he left all that stuff and again came out to suffer with his own people. Let's see if Hamashiach did the same thing. Let's get 2 Corinthians 8 and 9. A prophet like unto Moses. Second Corinthians 8 and 9.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 9. For you know the grace of our master, Yeshua HaMashiach, that though he was rich.
Though he was what?
Though he was rich.
Though he was rich, read.
Yet for our sakes, for your sake, he became poor.
He became poor. Same thing Moses did. Read.
That you, through his poverty, might be rich.
So he put all that great riches that he had up there with the Father, came down here, was afflicted, treated worse than an animal, lost his riches so you can become rich one day through him. That's something. Now, it's going to make this group make much more sense. Let's get Matthew 19. Matthew 19, and pick it up at verse 16.
Matthew, or Matityahu, chapter 19 and verse 16. And behold, one came and said to him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life?
So we directly trying to find, how do I get eternal life? Read.
And he said unto him, Why call you me good? There is none good but one, that is Yahuwah. But if you will enter into life, keep the commandments.
Jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. The young man said to him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet?
So he that's nothing. I've been keeping the commandments. Feast days, everything. I'm good. What you talking about? Read.
Yeshua said unto him, If you be perfect, go and sell that you have, and give to the poor, that you have treasure in Shamayim, and come and follow me.
So this is why he's telling this brother this, because I gave it all up. Moses gave it all up. This is why he's saying this. So now this makes way more sense. Absolutely. Because he did it himself. He wouldn't ask you to do something that he didn't do. So we've been reading the script on the streets and saying it, but it really, really makes sense because he actually did it. So he walked what he taught.
I'd say that was heavy, like a forklift. Forklift heavy.
Pick it up at verse 22.
Verse 22. When the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful.
He did what?
He went away sorrowful.
He wasn't like a Mashiach. He wasn't like Moses. He didn't give it all up. Read.
For he had great possessions.
And it couldn't have been more than Hamashiach had in the heavens, right? No way. It didn't measure up to that. Read.
Then said Yeshua unto the disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of Shamayim.
Make way, way more sense now, with the precepts being lined up with it. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 2. Through thy precepts, we get understanding. Exodus 2, pick it up at verse 13.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together.
So now Moses is coming to his brothers. Right? He's coming to his brothers. Read.
And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smite you your fellow? And he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Intended you kill me, and you killed the Egyptians. And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
So Moses got in fear, but he just smite an Egyptian the day before, did a good thing. Now he coming to his brothers, and his brothers don't even want to hear it. Who put you over us? Who made you a ruler and a judge? Let's see how this pertains to a Mashiach. Let's get John 1 and 11. Prophet like unto Moses.
The book of John, chapter 1 and verse 11. He came unto his own.
He did what?
He came unto his own.
He came unto his own. Read.
And his own received him not.
Same thing with Moses. Came to his own, and his own received him not. And this is what we see walking around today. Most of us can't talk to our own people in our own house. They don't want to hear it. They rather hear it from a stranger. Somebody else. People say it to me all the time. Man, what did you do to get your mom and them in the truth? Wasn't me. What did you do to get all your people in it? By the grace of the Most High, they listen. It ain't me. Absolutely. Because we don't want to hear it from our own people. They just did it with Moses. They did it with a Mashiach. Let's go back to Exodus. Exactly. It's going to all come together in a minute. Pick it up at verse 15.
Verse 15. Now, 2.
2 and 15. Keep your markers in Exodus because we're going to be back. Exodus 2 and 15.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh.
He did what?
He fled from the face of Pharaoh.
Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh. Is there somewhere in the New Testament that shows something like this? What you got? What you got, Hammer? What you got, Pod?
He's Ahab.
Yeah, right, Ahab. Right. What you got, Pod? Nope. You said that. Read that verse again, huh?
Verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses.
He sought to slay Moses. So somebody's after Moses to slay him. Read.
But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh.
So Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh.
Pharaoh was in power.
Let's get Revelation 12. Because the story also goes along with us. 12 and verse 13.
Revelations chapter 12 and verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
Read.
And the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness.
So where?
Into the wilderness.
That's where we was at when we came out of Egypt, right? Read.
Into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent.
So just like Moses fled from Moses' face, we gonna flee from the serpent's face. And you'll find out that Pharaoh was actually in the place of the serpent. Let's get John chapter 4. Pick it up at verse 7. No, matter of fact, let's go back to Exodus first.
Exodus 2.
Exodus 2, pick it up at verse 15 again.
Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
He sat down by what?
By a well.
Read.
Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water with their father's flock.
With their father's flock. Amasiach is over his father's flock. He's the water. He actually waters you. Right? So, but it said that he sat down by a well. Let's see how this pertains to Amasiach. Let's go back. Let's get on John chapter 4. And it said that the Midianite had 7 daughters, right? How many congregations in Revelation? Might be a coincidence.
So I'm saying,
All the same. Get John chapter 4 and pick it up at verse 7. Because Moses is by a well.
the book of John, chapter 4 and verse 7. There come a woman of Samaria to draw water.
To do what?
To draw water.
Read.
Yeshua said unto her, give me to drink.
Do what?
Give me to drink.
Go ahead.
For his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask drink of me,
Read.
which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
No, we wasn't supposed to mess with them. Read.
Yeshua answered and said unto her, if you know the gift of Yah, and who it is that say to you,
If you know who you talking to right now, read.
give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he would have given you living water.
Give you what?
Living water.
So Moses has physical waters back there, but he's taking you to the deeper level. Spiritual water. Read.
The woman said unto him, sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep.
She still don't get it at the minute. Read.
From hence then have you have living water.
You don't have nothing. You ain't got nothing to get the water with. Read.
Are you greater than our father Jacob,
Absolutely he is. Read.
which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yeshua answered and said unto her, whosoever drink of this water,
So what?
whosoever drink of this water,
You drink of this water. Read.
thirst again, shall thirst again. But whosoever drink of the water that I shall give,
So the water that Moses gave, you're going to thirst again. But this water right here, this is eternal. You will never thirst again when you get this. Read.
But whosoever drink of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water.
A what?
A well of water.
Read.
Springing up into everlasting life.
Into what?
Into everlasting life.
Read on.
The woman say to him, Sir, give me this water.
Can I get some of this water? Is this Absol Pure? Or what's the water that they put sodium in to make you want it?
Dasani?
Yeah. Is this that
Is that
water?
Dasani?
Read.
The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come here to draw.
Go ahead.
Yeshua said unto her, Go, call your husband and come here.
All right. Now it's another topic. Let's go back to Exodus. So Moses gave you this physical water. He's going to give you the greater water, though. Pick it up at verse 21.
Verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. And she bare him a son. And he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
So right here it says, and Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. So is Zipporah, is she an Israelite? She's not an Israelite, right? So Moses has what? A Gentile wife. How does this pertain to Hamashiach? Anybody? Give Jeremiah 3. Oh,
Deep, man.
Jeremiah 3, and pick it up at verse 14.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children.
Oh, backsliding who?
O backsliding children.
Go ahead.
Saith Yahuwah, for I am married unto you.
He's what?
I am married unto you.
So he's married to the children of Israel. Read.
And I will take you, one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
So he said he's married to the children of Israel. Let's get the famous scripture. Let's get Revelations 2 and 9. And Revelations 3 and 9. Because it's somebody that's posing as his wife.
Revelations chapter 2 and verse 9. I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
So these people is acting as if they are his wife. Just like the church. They say that he put away his people. He don't deal with them no more. They have taken the place of his bride. So just like Moses got a Gentile wife, the world has given him a Gentile wife. Same thing they did with Joseph. You'll find Joseph's story is the same way. It matches up perfect. Let's go back to Exodus.
No, put it down.
Pick it up at verse 23.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 23. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto Yahuwah by reason of the bondage.
So when you get some understanding of this, and you see all of this, Mike Brown and all of these different afflictions that's going on, all that stuff that they doing in Nigeria, you'll understand that it gotta happen. Read that verse again.
And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up to Yahuwah by reason of the bondage.
So all of this affliction that you're going through, you gotta do it. You gotta go through it. Just like right here, there's nothing new under the sun. So when you're in bondage and you're crying out, the cries is gonna come up to his ears. But right now, we so backwards as a people, we don't even realize that we being afflicted. Just because they took the chains off. Exactly, Stockholm Syndrome. So all of these killings and all of this different stuff, it's got to continue to happen. It's got to get actually worse for the children of Israel to even realize, wait a minute, they afflicting us. They killing us. And then you're going to finally start crying out to the Most High. It's going to come up to him. He's going to hear you and then deliver you. Read.
And y'all heard their groaning, and y'all remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And y'all looked upon the children of Israel, and y'all had respect unto them.
So again, this same stuff got to take place. Let's get Exodus 3. Pick it up at verse 7.
Exodus chapter 3 and verse 7. And Yah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt.
So Egypt is like
bondage.
But it's for like the world, not just America. Because this is happening all over. Read.
And Yahuwah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters.
Read.
For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them
I did what?
I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians.
Read.
And to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me.
It's going to come back to them. Read.
And I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them.
So right here we got, he letting you know, since y'all crying out, I hear it, I see it. I'm going to come down and put a stop to it. We know in the New Testament shows you that so many people is going to be dying that he going to have to shorten the days to cut it out.
Absolutely.
So he giving Moses, he's saying, Moses, I'm going to be with you. If you know this chapter, Moses is going to be making a whole bunch of excuses. Go back and read it on your time. Moses is making a whole bunch of excuses not to go and do what he is told to do. Let's pick it up in Exodus 4 and verse 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 4 and verse 1. And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me.
They will what?
They will not believe me.
Read.
Nor listen to my voice. But they will say, Yahuwah have not appeared unto you. And Yahuwah said unto him, what is this in your hand?
What do you got in your hand, Moses? Read.
And he said, a rod.
Read.
And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. And it became a serpent. And Moses fled from it.
See, this is how you know Moses is black. Because if it was somebody else, they would have stayed there and picked it up. Oh, good day, mate. Look at that beautiful snake. But Moses did just like us. He saw it and got ghost.
Nothing new under the sun.
That boy got up out of there because right now, say a snake in here right now, this boy gonna clear out ASAP.
It's gonna sound like you on a roller coaster. Yeah.
Exactly. Ain't nobody playing because we don't play with snakes. Look how he's dropping these clues on us all this time. We never caught it. Man, oh man. Right there, showing that you know Moses is black. Read verse 4.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, put forth your hand and take it by the tail.
Take it by what?
Take it by the tail.
Take it by the head.
Take it by the tail.
Now, why does he tell him this? So imagine, this is the snake, right? And this is his head right here. He told Moses to take it by the tail. So if Moses take it by the tail, he would do what? The head would be where? On the ground. What does this take us to?
In Genesis.
That's a good one as well. Let's go to the law and show. Let's get Deuteronomy 13. This what he was basically showing them what I'm about to do for y'all. Deuteronomy 28, pick it up at verse 13. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 13. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 13. And Yahuwah shall make you the head.
So make you what?
He shall make you the head.
He's gonna make us the head once we get it back right, like we originally were. Read.
And not the tail.
And not the tail. So he was showing them right then, I'm about to turn it upside down because Pharaoh and them is on top of y'all right now. But I'm gonna take the serpent. Remember, he told him, flee from the face of the serpent. Pharaoh was the serpent in that thing. So he's turning it upside down, showing you, I'm going to make y'all the head, and they going to be the tail. Read that from the top again.
And Yahuwah shall make you the head, and not the tail. And you shall be above only.
Above only. Because the tail going to flip back and get its rightful position, and they going to be on the bottom. This is what he actually was showing us with this sign. Let's go back to Exodus. Matter of fact, hold the Exodus. Let's get Matthew 19. Because we on the bottom of the totem pole, right? Yeah. Matthew 19 and 28.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 28. And Yeshua said unto them, verily I say to you, that which you have followed me, and the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Read.
And everyone that have forsaken house.
That do what?
That have forsaken houses.
Which he did, read.
Or brother.
Which he did, read.
Or sister.
Read.
Or father. Or mother. Or wife. Or children. Or lands. For my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold. And shall inherit everlasting life.
So he left everything. Moses left everything. Read.
But many that are first shall be last.
So he's going to flip everything around to the way that it originally was. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This makes way more sense when the precepts line up with it. Absolutely. Let's go back to Exodus 4. So he's going to turn their little kingdom upside down and give it back to the children of Israel. Exodus 4, pick it up at verse 10.
Exodus chapter 4 and verse 10. And Moses said unto Yahuwah, O my master, I am not eloquent.
I'm not what?
I am not eloquent.
You know I can't speak good in front of these people. It's hard for me to do this, Most High. Moses still making excuses. Read.
Neither hereto, nor since has spoken unto your servant, but I am slow of speech.
I'm not a good speaker. Don't put me up there in front of them people. Read.
And of a slow tongue. And Yahuwah said unto him, who hath made man's mouth?
I made your mouth. Read.
Or who make the dumb, or the deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, Yahuwah?
So all of these different people, I made them that way. Read.
Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth.
I will do what?
I will be with your mouth.
I will be with your mouth. Read. Read.
And teach you what you shall say.
So I'm going to teach you what to say. I'm with you. Let's get Deuteronomy 18 and 18. I'm going to teach you what to say.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and I will put my words in his mouth.
I will do what?
I will put my words in his mouth.
He ain't going to speak of himself. He ain't going to come to talk about, I did this, that, and the third. Because the Most High going to put the words in his mouth. Read.
And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
So, same thing, Moses. Stop making excuses. I'm going to tell you what to say. I'm going to give it to you.
But would that pertain to if you got a job and you got to work on the Shabbat? Don't make excuses.
Let's get Matthew 10. Pick it up at verse 18.
Verse 18. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles.
Read.
But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak.
Don't even think about it. Don't go in there rehearsing, oh, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this. This is why the lawyer's skills is impeccable. Read.
For it shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak.
So it's going to be given to you in the same hour. Again, you don't got to write it down and rehearse it. He going to give it to you. Read.
For it is not you that speak.
It's not us that speak. Read.
But the Ruach of your Father, which speak in you.
Same thing. I'm going to give you a mouth that your adversaries cannot gainsay
nor resist.
This is why when people come against you and think they got something, he just give it to you off the top of your head. It's just right there. I just know where to go. I know where to confound you at. Let's go back. We're going to pick it up at Exodus. Matter of fact, John 17 and 8.
The book of John, chapter 17 and verse 8. For I have given unto them the words which you gave me.
So I didn't give them my own words. Read.
And they have received them, and have known surely that I come out from you, and they have believed that you did send me.
So the same words is the words that we speak. That's why we don't speak opinion. Somebody asks us something, questions about this book, we go into the book, not our own words. Let's go back to Exodus 4. Pick it up at verse 13.
Verse 13. And he said, O my master, send, I pray you, by the hand of him who you will send. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he come forth to meet you, And when he see you, he will be glad in his heart.
Read.
And you shall speak to him and put words in his mouth.
Do what?
And you shall speak to him and put words in his mouth.
Read.
And I will be with your mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what you shall do.
Read.
And he shall be your spokesman unto the people.
Read that again.
And he shall be your spokesman unto the people.
So the Messiah is the spokesman for the Most High. It's still following the order. Because the Most High don't come down to speak. He sent his son out to speak. So it's the same thing right here. Moses is like playing the Most High role in a way. And Aaron is like a Mashiach, because he's the one going to go out and actually do the talking. Read that verse again.
And he shall be your spokesman to the people. And he shall be, even he shall be to you instead of a mouth. And you shall be to him instead of Yah.
Instead of what?
Instead of Yah.
Heavy. Let's get Exodus 7:1. So we know it's real important to know Hebrew names and the meaning of this. Exodus 7:1.
Exodus chapter 7 and verse 1. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, see, I have made you a God.
I did what?
I have made you a God.
I have made you a God. Read.
To Pharaoh. And Aharon your brother shall be your prophet.
Same thing we just got from over there. Moses is playing the role of the Most High, and Aaron is playing the role of the Messiah in this verse. Now, what does Aaron's name mean? Drop it on, Mike. No, we don't even got to get it. We can just give it to them. They can look it up later. Keep going. No, what does Aaron's name mean? Light bringer or light bearer.
Light.
Light. Like the light.
Light, what else?
Like light bearer or light bringer.
Absolutely.
Or bringer of light.
He said, whoop, there it is.
So let's get John 14. John 14, pick it up at verse 8.
John chapter 14 and verse 8. And Philip said unto him, Master.
So it told us that Moses, he made Moses a God. Read.
Philip said unto him, Master, show us the Father.
Do what?
Show us the Father.
Show us the Father. Read.
And it suffice us. Yeshua said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet have you not known me? Philip, he that hath seen me, hath seen the Father.
He that hath seen me, have seen the Father. Remember, he told you he made Moses a God. So if Hamashiach is like unto Moses, then he got to follow the same suit. Read.
And how say you then, show us the Father?
How say I show you the Father? I'm right here. Read.
Believe you not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words I speak to you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwell in me. He do the work.
So he was basically showing them, you looking at, because I'm the image. I'm the express image. So when you see me, that's why they say, boy, you look like the spit image of your daddy. Your daddy could have spit you out, boy. Because he looked just like his father. Did everything just like his father. That's why it says him and the Father are one. He was on one accord in everything. He never disagreed. He never say, Father, I don't think you should do it like that. I think you should try and do it like this. One accord, because they are one. So when you're looking at him, you're looking at the Father. Absolutely. And the Most High's quote unquote an El or Elohim, he gotta be an El or an Elohim because he made Moses one. Gotta follow suit. Gotta keep the law. Let's go back to Exodus. We're gonna pick it up at chapter 10.
Hold on, y'all, for understanding.
Exodus 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 21.
Exodus chapter 10 and verse 21. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, stretch out your hand toward Shammai.
Do what?
Stretch out your hand toward Shammai.
Read.
That there may be darkness over the land of Egypt.
In the beginning he said it was what? Darkness. Read.
Even darkness which may be felt.
Ooh, it's so dark he said you can feel it. Now this is hard for the mind to actually grasp. But the closest thing I can think of is when we stayed in Alabama, it used to be so black that you can do like this with your hand in front of your face and you couldn't see it. After I'm talking about complete blackness. Read.
And Moses stretched forth his hand towards the Shammai, and there was a thick darkness in the land of Egypt 3 days.
Wait a minute, how long?
3 days.
3 days. You should already know that should spark you to something. For 3 days. Read.
They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days.
So just imagine, it's so dark, it's so black that you got to sit in your same spot for 3 days. It's that dark, you ain't getting up and going nowhere. How long was the light gone from the world?
3 days. He said they rose.
Wait a minute. Mashiach was gone away from the heater. We'll get to it in a second. Read that verse again.
They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwelling.
All the children of Israel had what?
Had light in their dwelling.
All we got right here. Let's get Genesis chapter 1.
Stop it. Man.
Pick it up at verse 2.
Wow, factor. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
What was there?
Darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Read.
And the Spirit of Yah moved upon the face of the waters.
He walked in the water. Read.
And Yah said, let there be light.
Let there be what?
Let there be light.
Who is this light?
Mashiach.
Mashiach. Read.
And there was light.
And there was light. This is before the sun and the moon and the stars were created. All right, let's get John 1. John 1 and pick it up at verse 6.
John chapter 1 and verse 6. There was a man sent from Yah, whose name was John.
Read.
The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light.
To do what?
To bear witness of the light.
So John came to bear witness of the light. Remember it said that the children of Israel had light. Read.
But was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which light every man that comes into the world.
Ooh. Read it again.
That was the true light, which light every man that comes into the world.
Let's get Matthew 27:46. 45. So the children of Israel had light. Matthew 27 and verse 45.
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 45. And about the 9th hour, Yeshua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli.
No, I picked up at 45.
Okay, my bad. Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour.
Unto the 9th hour. Oh, we got right there. Let's get John 8 and 12. We coming right back here. John 8 and 12.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 12. Then spake Yeshua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world.
I am what?
I am the light of the world.
I am the light of the world. Read.
He that follow me shall not walk in darkness.
Shall not do what?
Shall not walk in darkness.
Remember, it said that the Egyptians didn't go in their house for 3 days. He said, but the children of Israel had light in all their dwellings. Right here he's showing you, I am the light of the world. Read.
But shall have the light of life.
The light of what?
The light of life.
Let's go back to that Matthew 27. Pick it up at verse 46.
And about the 9th hour, Yeshua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. I think that is to say, my power, why have you forsaken me?
So right here, the light of the world is being put out. How long was the light of the world put out? 3 days. But on the natural level, he said that they had light. Let's get Exodus 13 and 21. Exodus 13 and 21.
Exodus chapter 13 and verse 21. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud.
So he went before them in the day in a pillar of a cloud, read,
to lead them the way. And by night in a pillar of the fire, to give them light.
To give them what?
To give them light. To go by day and night.
So again, the children of Israel had light because they had a Mashiach. Let's get Exodus 17. And all of this stuff is just in Exodus. And I actually had to skip a whole bunch of stuff. Exodus 17, and pick it up at verse 10.
Exodus chapter 17 and verse 10. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and went up to the top of the hill.
To the top of what?
To the top of the hill.
So he told us that he's going to have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So there's got to be a picture of something future. What does Joshua name mean? Or who has the same name as Joshua?
Mashiach.
Mashiach has the same name. Let's see if y'all can catch what this is a picture of. Read.
And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand.
When Moses did what?
Held up his hand.
When Moses held up his hands, a prophet like unto Moses. Read.
That Israel prevailed.
So if Moses don't hold up his hands, in fact, read.
Held up his hands, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed.
So if Moses don't hold up his hands, not out, but if Moses don't hold up his hands, the children of Israel lose. Read.
Verse 12. But Moses' hands were heavy.
Read.
And they took a stone.
They took a what?
They took a stone.
He said, I'm the cornerstone, the foundation. Read.
And put it under him. And he sat thereon.
So Moses now got a foundation. Read.
And Aharon and Ur stayed up his hands.
They held up Moses' hands just like this. But if he don't do this, the children of Israel lose. If the Messiah don't come down and do his hands in the same way, the children of Israel lose. This is a picture of Moses showing a Mashiach on the stake. And plus to show you that his hands wasn't out, but they were up. Man, oh man. Let's get 1 Corinthians 15. First Corinthians 15 and verse 55.
First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 55.
Matter of fact, pick it up at 54.
Verse 54.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
Death is swallowed up in victory. Because, again, if Moses don't do this, if his arms give out on him, the children of Israel is lost. But he kept his arms up. But it was two people on his side. What does that symbolize? Or what does that show us like a picture of? He had the two thieves on his sides. Read.
O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law.
So he's showing you right here, if he don't do this thing, death gonna get the victory over us. But since he did it, we got the victory over death, because it's the last enemy that Hamashiach is going to defeat. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 18. Pick it up at verse 11.
Exodus chapter 18 and verse 11. Now I know that Yahuwah is greater than all gods. For in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for Yah. And Aharon came and all the elders to Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before Yah.
So, what did the Messiah feed the people with?
Bread.
Bread, right? Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people.
He did what?
Sat to judge the people.
That Moses sat to judge the people. So Moses was a judge. He was set to judge the people. Let's see how this pertains to a Mashiach. Let's get Leviticus 19 and 32. So Moses was a judge, even though he wasn't from the tribe of Dan. Leviticus 19 and verse 32. Matter of fact, pick it up at 31.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim.
Read.
You shall rise up before the hoary head.
Before who?
The hoary head.
What does this word read? The hoary head. Gray hair. So he says, you shall rise up before the hoary head. Read.
And honor the face of the old man.
Honor the face of the old man. Read.
And fear Yahuwah. I am Yahuwah.
So it said, the hoary head, old man. Let's get Genesis 49 and 9. Genesis 49 and 9. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you are gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion and as an old lion.
As a what?
As an old lion.
This is where the hoary head comes from. As an old lion. Read.
Who shall rouse him up?
Who shall rouse him up? Let's get Micah 5 and 2. Go ahead.
Micah chapter 5 and verse 2. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrath, though you be little among thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel.
That's to be what?
That's to be ruler in Israel.
Read on.
Whose goings forth have been from old.
From old, read.
From everlasting.
This is why it says the hoary head. Because he's the old lion. Who's going to rouse him up? Let's get Revelations 1 and 13. So again, Moses was a judge. Prophet like unto Moses. Revelations 1:13.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
The hoary head, old man. Read.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So Moses was a judge, right? It told us to revere the man with the hoary head, the old lion. Let's get 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. Through that precepts, we get understanding. 2 Corinthians 5 and 10.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach.
Read that again.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach.
All got to appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach. Just like they came to Moses and he judged the people. Finish that out.
That everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad.
Ooh. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 32. Exodus 32, pick it up at verse 1.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mountain.
They did what?
The people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mountain.
So just think, Moses been up in this mountain for a while now. And it says, Moses delayed to come down. How does this pertain to Hamashiach?
He waiting on it. He waiting. Like now. He waiting to come back.
Waiting to come down, right? Oh, we got right here. Let's get 2 Peter 3:3. Matter of fact, stay right here. Finish this verse out.
And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aharon, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
So Moses is taking too long for the people. Let's see how this pertains to a Mashiach. 2 Peter 3:3.
The second epistle of Peter, chapter 3 and verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days.
In what days?
In the last days.
Read.
Scoffers, walking after their own lust.
Read on.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming?
Where's the what?
Where is the promise of his coming?
He taking too long. My granddaddy was saying the same stuff that y'all talking about today. Only difference is your granddaddy wasn't using those scriptures. He just was saying it because he heard somebody else say it. Read that again.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning.
So ain't nothing happening. They've been talking about he been coming back since my granddaddy was a little boy. He still ain't here. I'm finna live my life. That's exactly what people is doing. Let's get Luke 12. Yeah, finish it out.
But this they willingly are ignorant of.
They what?
They willingly are ignorant of.
They willingly. You are sinning willfully.
That by the word of Yah, the Shamayim were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water.
Let's get on. Let's get this Luke. Luke 12 and 45. Luke 12 and 45.
Luke goes, chapter 12 and verse 45. But, and if that servant say to his master, my Lord, delay his coming.
He do what?
My Lord, delay his coming.
My Lord delays his coming. He talking about himself. Just like Moses delayed to come down. Read.
And shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink.
To do what?
To eat and drink.
To eat and drink. Keep that in mind. Read.
And to be drunken. The master of that servant will come in a day when he looked not for him.
So you won't be expecting it. It's going to take you like a thief in the night. Read.
At an hour when he is not aware. And will cut him in sunder.
He will do what?
Cut him in sunder.
Read.
And will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
That's a heavy one right there. If you come back and you ain't doing the work, you playing. Read.
And that servant, which knew his master's will, and prepared not himself.
You know the will and you don't prepare yourself. Read.
Neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Lake of fire. Ooh. This stuff is heavy. Let's go back to Exodus 32. He said if they not looking for me and they beat the servant, then they go back to eating and drinking and getting drunk. Right? Pick it up at verse 5.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 5. And when Aharon saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aharon made proclamation and said, tomorrow is the feast of Yahuwah.
He talking about these calves, not the Most High. Read.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
They did what?
Rose up to play.
So he mentioned specifically over there in the New Testament that if you beat the servant and you get up and you eat and you drink and get drunk. This is exactly what they doing over here. There's nothing new under the sun. Read that verse again.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings.
So they having a feast. Read.
And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
They rose up to play. Grown-ups playing. Out there with jacks and stuff. I can get more than you. Let's get Matthew. Hold this right there. Matthew 24, verse 37.
Yahoo chapter 24 and verse 27.
37.
37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So just like when Moses was getting ready to come down, they was eating, drinking, and playing. Prophet like unto Moses. Read.
For as in the days that they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking,
Same thing. Read.
marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Read.
And knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
Did what?
Took them all away.
So the flood raptured them.
Took them all away.
No, it wasn't a rapture. It was somewhere they didn't want to go. Same exact thing going to happen. Moses' story is showing you the Messiah story, but also showing you the end at the same time. Let's go back to Exodus. We're going to pick it up at verse 11.
The book of Exodus, chapter 32 and verse 11. And Moses besought Yahuwah his power and said, Yahuwah, why do your wrath wax hot against your people, which you have brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand?
So Moses is stopping the wrath of Yah right here. Intercession. Just like a Mashiach is the continual intercession for you. Read.
Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth. Turn from your fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against your people.
Go ahead.
Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swear by your own self and said unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of Shamaim, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahuwah repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people.
Read on.
And Moses turned, and he went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of testimony were in his hand, and the tables were written on both their sides. On the one side and the other side were they written.
So this is Moses originally getting the 10 commandments. Read.
And the tables were the work of Yah, and the writing was the writing of Yah, graven upon the tables.
Go ahead.
And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp.
Man, this sounds like grenades and bombs is going off. That's what Joshua think it is. You know how silly we get when the alcohol and all that stuff start flowing. Read.
And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear.
So he hear them singing. They got R. Kelly happy people bumping out the system. Happy people. They got carols bumping and knocking the mountains down. Read it again.
And he said, it's not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear.
The voice of them that sing do I hear. So they down there having a feast. They partying it up. They living it up, as they say in the songs now. They'll be doing the exact Same thing. Matter of fact, read.
And it came to pass, as soon as he came near to the camp, that he saw the calf and the dance.
And the what?
And the dance.
He saw them doing the hustle or the electric slide, whatever you want to call it. Read.
And Moshe's anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mount.
So Moses then got so mad that the commandments that the Most High wrote with his own finger, Moses then threw them down and broke them. He's so mad. What does this symbolize? What does this show us in the New Testament? That too. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's get hold what we got right here. Let's get Hebrews 8 and 8. Because Moses came down and saw them in folly and got very angry. But this was just showing us something for the future. Hebrews 8 and 8.
Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 8. For finding fault with them.
Because Moses came down and found fault with them. Read.
He said, behold, the days come, saith the master, when I will make a new.
I will do what?
I will make a new.
I will make a new covenant. So he broke the old ones and had to go right back up and get them again. That's what he was showing you. That he broke them and I'm going to make it again. But it's going to be the same one, just renewed. Read that again.
For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, saith the master, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
With the same people, not a different bride. Let's go back to Exodus 32 and verse 20.
Shemot.
What's the difference? Why are you separated to the house of Israel and with the house of Judah? Ain't they the same?
It's the same, but it was the two kingdoms being split. So he's going to bring them all back together, though. So it will still be one house. Exodus 32, and we're going to pick it up at verse 20.
Exodus 32 and verse 20. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it with the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Israel drink of it.
To do what?
And made the children of Israel drink of it.
So what does this take us to? So he ground the thing into powder, threw it in water, and made the children of Israel drink it. Anybody?
Would that be the vinegar?
That's a good one. Let's get Revelation 14. Oh, we got Revelation 14. Remember, he's angry with them right now.
Okay.
So the same book.
Right.
Revelation 14:10. Go ahead.
The book of Revelations, chapter 14 and verse 10.
Matter of fact, pick it up at verse 9.
And verse 9. And the third Malachim followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image.
So that calf was what? A beast and an image, and they was worshiping it. Read.
And receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand.
They works was showing it. Read.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yah, which is poured out without mixture in the cup of his indignation.
So that's Moses was showing a picture that y'all gonna drink from that cup poured out without mixture, the Most High's wrath. That's what he was showing you a picture of what's gonna actually happen. You gonna drink that cup, that same cup that Hamashiach didn't even want to drink. Read.
And shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Kodesh Malachim and in the presence of the Lamb.
Ooh. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 32. Pick it up where you left off at. Verse 21, I believe. Yeah, 21.
Exodus 32 and 21. And Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people to you, that you have brought so great sin upon them?
So great what?
Sin upon them.
Read.
And Aaron said, let not the anger of my master wax hot. You know the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us.
Make us gods which shall go before us. They were just coming out of Egypt in the first place. How quickly you forget. Read.
Which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him. And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let him break it off. So they gave it to me. Then I cast it in the fire, and there came out this calf.
So see right here, he's not even owning up to it. Read that verse again.
It was that woman you gave me.
Read that again.
And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf.
And there came out a calf, just like he threw it in there, and a calf came out. He didn't own up to it. He didn't learn from the things before. All we got right here, let's get Genesis 2 and 25. Genesis 2 and 25.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 25. And they were both naked.
They were what?
They were both naked.
They were both naked. Read.
And the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
So right here, they naked, but they not ashamed. Let's jump right over to the next chapter. Chapter 3, and pick it up at verse 6.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahuwah had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, have Yah said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof, and did eat.
And did what?
And did eat.
Read.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
And he did eat. So they naked. Read.
And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked.
They what?
They knew that they were naked.
Now they know that they naked. Read.
And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
And made aprons. Jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15. And I will put enmity between you and the woman.
Matter of fact, start at verse. Pick it up at verse 13. Yeah, 12.
Verse 12. And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree. She gave me of the tree.
They not owning up to it. He actually giving them the opportunity to fess up. Read.
And I did eat. And Yahuwah said unto the woman, what is this that you have done?
Asking her point blank. What he already know. We want him to come clean. Just like Aaron should have came clean. Read.
And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat.
The serpent tricked me, and I did eat, when you already knew exactly that you wasn't supposed to do this. But it said that when they done this, they knew that they were naked. Sin makes you naked. Through the precepts, we get what? Understanding. Let's get Revelation 16 and 15. Revelation 16 and 15.
Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watch.
Blessed is he that what?
That watch.
Blessed is he that great. Read that from the top again.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watch and keep his garment.
Do what?
And keep his garment.
Keeps his garments. Read.
Lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
So when you get caught in sin, when he catch you in sin, you will be naked. First thing when you get caught in sin, you want to do what? Cover it up and hide it. This is what Adam and Eve was doing. They was trying to hide their shame, their nakedness.
Wait, did Joshua get saved out of all of those people? It says, blessed is he that watch.
That watch.
He waited for Moses and said to people.
Absolutely not. Let's go back. You're almost at the stretch. Yeah, let's go back to Exodus. Pick it up at verse 29.
For Moses had, Exodus 32 and 29. For Moses had said, consecrate yourselves today to Yahuwah, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said to the people, you have sinned a great sin.
A what sin?
A great sin.
Read.
And now I will go up to Yahuwah. Perhaps I shall make an atonement.
I shall do what?
I shall make an atonement for your sins.
So we know Hamashiach is the atonement. But right here, Moses is going up. Where did Hamashiach go when he left? He went up. To make an atonement. Read.
And Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if you will forgive their sin.
If you will do what?
If you will forgive their sin.
If you will forgive their sins. Read.
And if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book. Which
read that again.
Yet now, if you will forgive their sin.
If you will forgive their sins, do what?
And if not, blot me, I pray you, out of the book which you have written.
So Moses right here is offering to be the Messiah, to be the sacrifice. Save them, even as wicked as they were. I'll take the blame. Take me out of your book. Same thing Hamashiach came down here and done. But he couldn't let Moses do it because this was already ordained from the foundations of the world, that Hamashiach was going to do it. Read that verse again.
Yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book which you have written.
Beautiful foreshadowing. Let's get Exodus 33. And pick it up at verse 18.
Exodus chapter 33 and verse 18. And he said, I beseech you, show me your esteem.
Do what?
Show me your esteem.
Show me your esteem. Read.
And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you.
I will do what?
I will make all my goodness pass before you.
I will make all my goodness pass before you. Read.
And I will proclaim the name of Yahuwah before you.
I will proclaim my name.
I will proclaim the name of Yahuwah before you.
Read.
And will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy.
Read.
And he said, you cannot see my face.
You cannot do what?
You cannot see my face.
You cannot see my face. Read.
For there shall no man see me and live.
So no man shall see my face and live. Read.
And he said, you cannot see my face, but there shall no man see me and live. And Yahuwah said, behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand upon a rock.
Stand upon what?
A rock.
Stand upon a rock. Just like he told him to sit on the rock when he was holding his arms up. Read.
And it shall come to pass, while my esteem pass by, that I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand, while I pass by.
With my hand, the Messiah is the hand. Cover you. Read.
And I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back parts.
You're going to see my back parts. Read.
But my face shall not be seen.
But my face shall not be seen. Let's pick it up in Exodus 34. Pick it up in verse 1. Verse 1.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew you 2 tables of stone like unto the first.
Just like you had the first time, we're going to do it all over again. Read.
And I will write upon these tables the words that were on the first tables, which you break. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me.
Read.
In the top of the mountain. And no man shall come up with you.
And no man shall come up with you. Just like he told the disciples, I go to a place where you cannot go. You can't come with me. Well, I'm going. Read.
Neither let any man be seen throughout all the mountain. Neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mountain.
Go ahead.
And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went unto Mount Sinai. And Yahuwah had commanded him, and took his hand the 2 tables of stone.
Go ahead.
And Yahuwah descended in the cloud, and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah.
Go ahead.
And Yahuwah passed by before him, and proclaimed, Yahuwah, Yahuwah Elohim, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, upon the children's children, and unto the 3rd and to the 4th generation.
Jump down to verse 29.
Verse 29. And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai.
He did what?
When Moses came down from Mount Sinai.
Moses came down, read.
With the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hands. When he came down from the mount, that Moses wished not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him.
So Moses only seen his back parts, and Moses' face is shining, but he don't even know it. Read.
And when Aharon and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him.
They was afraid to come near him. He says that the day of Yahuwah come with wrath and fierce anger. Why would you desire the day of Yahuwah? Because it's going to be so scary. Read.
And Moses called unto them, and Aharon and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterward all the children of Israel came near. And he gave them in commandments all Yahuwah had spoken with him in Mount Sinai.
So the first time Moses came down, he caught him playing and acting a fool and everything and showing that. The second time he came down with his face shining in glorious form. Like Hamashiach is going to come down the next time in glorious form. So it was showing his first and his second coming, or how he coming down here and what he coming down here to do. I know we've been going a minute, so we'll leave it right there. But that's just showing you, and this is just Exodus that we going from, and we skipped a whole bunch to show you the correlations between Moses and the Messiah. So with that, say shalom. Any questions, comments, anything?
Good lesson.
So y'all see how Moses was like a prototype of a Messiah, right? Oh, go ahead.
I'm just curious. When Moses wasn't allowed to go over into the promised land, I can't relate that with
Right? That's because that's where Joshua comes in at. Joshua's name means salvation of Yahweh, deliverer. So Moses' name means to draw out. So Moses drew us out of Egypt, and Joshua took us in. So we can do the same thing with Joshua's story. It actually shows him as well doing the same thing as we did 2 weeks ago, showing that, you know what I'm saying, with the 2 spies and all of that stuff, that Joshua match up as well.
Okay.
So Joshua's name mean who?
It means salvation of Yah, same as Messiah's name. So he had the same function. He actually took us in to the promised land, like Hamashiach going to do. Anything else?
I got one, but you answered it already, but I'm going to do it anyway. Isaiah 53:7. That was.
Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 7.
What's the question?
Well, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment
Okay.
about that.
He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth.
Okay, that right there, where it says, he opened not his mouth. Like I told you, man, this here is just incredible what's going on with us. I mean, these words are just coming, and I'm about to cry. Like, for real, this is amazing. Like, when I see this stuff just pop out now, like stuff we already seen. But right here it says, he yet opened not his mouth. Now this also is talking about Hamashiach, no, but it says a similitude to Moses. So we go back to Moses, and you already gave the verse. I was hoping you did it, and you did it. Exodus 4:15-16, where he said, Moses, your brother shall be your spokesman. So Moses didn't even speak to us, really.
Got you. That's another illustration.
Right. Now, I was dying. I was dying on him. I can't wait till he get done. I was man, this is sweet. This is beautiful.
Search the scriptures. You have eternal life.
Let me give y'all a nugget. Let's do something right quick. See if y'all can pick it up. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 6. Now remember, we always tell you that the whole book is about the Messiah. Mm-hmm. It's the Father's will. He is not greater than the Father. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 6 and 6. See if y'all can pick it up.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart.
I will write it upon your heart. Take the stony heart away. Read.
And you shall teach them diligently unto your children.
You shall teach them diligently unto your children. He said, I do only the thing that my father do. We follow his father. Train up a child in the way, and he shall not depart. Read.
And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house.
Read.
And when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes.
So right here, anybody, how does the Messiah pertain to this? He says, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk with them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon your hands, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. How does the Messiah pertain to this? Yeah, that's in it. Let's get the precepts. So So again, he says, you shall diligently teach them unto your children, and shall talk of them when thou sittest down in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way. We know he is the way. And when thou liest down. Hold up, we're coming right back. Get Isaiah 53 and verse 9. Isaiah 53 and 9.
Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 9. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there deceit in his mouth.
So when you in the grave, you are quote unquote sleep, lying down. All right, let's get Job 33 and 19. Job 33 and 19.
The book of Job, chapter 33 and verse 19. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed.
Upon what?
Upon his bed.
Upon his bed. Read.
And the multitude of his bones with strong pain.
With strong pain. So this is on the surface talking about Job, but on deeper it's talking about Mashiach. But it says that you shall teach them when you lie down. How could that pertain to a Mashiach? You don't teach when you lie down or are in the grave.
The apostles going out to teach them.
Good one. So let's get the answer. Let's get 1 Peter 3 and 19. First Peter 3 and 19.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 19. By which also he went and preached unto the spirits.
He did what?
He went and preached unto the spirits.
So even in death, he still was teaching. Read.
In prison, which sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Yah waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water.
Let's go back to Deuteronomy 6. We're going to read verse 8.
Verse 8. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand.
You're going to do what?
Bind them for a sign upon your hand.
You're going to bind them for a sign upon your hand. How does this pertain to a Mashiach? Anybody?
Is that like when you get the mark as you give your hand, which mark you for?
Let's get Zechariah 13. 2 precepts. Zechariah 13. Pick it up at verse 5. Verse 6. Thirteen and 5.
Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 5. When he shall say, I am no prophet, I am a husbandman.
I'm what?
A husbandman.
Read.
For man taught me to keep cattle from my youth.
Go ahead.
And one shall say to him, what are these wounds in your hand?
What is what?
What are these wounds in your hand?
What are these wounds in your hand? Read.
Then shall he answer, those which I was wounded in the house of my friends.
So Judas was his
Friend,
right? So wounded. What are these wounds in your hand? But he said in Deuteronomy that they're going to be for a sign. Let's get Luke 24. 23. Because in this verse he said that they're going to be for a sign, something that you're going to witness, and you need to see it. Luke 24 and 23. Read.
And when they found not his body, they came saying that they should have also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive. And certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre, and found it even so, as the woman had said, but him they saw not. Then they said unto him, O fools, and slow of heart, to believe all the prophets have spoken. Ought not Hamashiach to have suffered these things, and to enter into his glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expound unto them in the scriptures the things concerning himself.
The scriptures concerning himself. Let's see how this concerns him. Let's get John 20 and 25. John 20 and 25. Pick up at 24.
John chapter 20 and 24. But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Yeshua came. The other disciples therefore said to him, We have seen our master.
We have seen the master, read.
But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hands.
I shall do what?
Except I shall see in his hands.
Except I shall see in his hands for signs, read.
The print of the nails, and put my finger in the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe.
So he gave that for a sign upon his hands. Read.
And after 8 days again, his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Yeshua, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you.
Shalom. Read.
Then said he to Thomas, Reach here your finger, and behold my hand.
Look at my hands as for a sign for you to believe. This is the sign that he let them. This is the only way that Thomas would believe. If he didn't see this in his hands and that in his side, he don't believe. So just like the thing said, for a sign upon your hands. Oh. So if there ain't nothing else, then we can pray out. Well, Martin, y'all got a song? Oh, okay. We'll pick back up next week.